Yeah, another strange English custom, the mummers play. The mummers play has become a fixture at the Old Sod Christmas parties, and it first started in Ottawa in 1991 when David Parry moved to town to take a job at the Museum of Civilization, now the Museum of History, of course. And David, as some of you may know, was one of the original members of Friends of Fiddler's Green with Ian. But he was also a medieval drama scholar and an actor, as well as being a Morris dancer, and as well as being someone who put on mummers plays, both in Toronto and throughout probably North America at various folk festivals. So David had a good background, and he decided when he moved to Ottawa, this was something he wanted to get going here as well. So he asked a number of us to get involved, and we made our first performance at David and Caroline's Winter Solstice Party, 1991. And the first cast was Ian, was Father Christmas, David was the doctor, Dave Burrell was St. George, I was the Turkish Knight, David's daughter Evelyn was Jolly Jack, I think it was called, and Lindsay, Ian and Val's daughter, was the Fiery Dragon. So we performed at their house party, and I guess we were a hit, and we were asked back again the next year, and we were also asked to join the Old Sod Christmas party. I don't know whether that was Ian or Catherine's idea, but somebody suggested that maybe we should look for a wider audience. Tragically, David died a few years later in 1995, so we were kind of left leaderless. And I stepped in, took up the baton, or maybe the plastic sword, more appropriately, and kept going for a few years. And then I passed on the director's hat to Michael Winzowski, and he did it for a few years, and then he passed on to Nev Miller, who I believe is still doing it, and hopefully still going strong. And obviously the cast has changed over the years. These are a couple of more recent pictures, and unfortunately we couldn't find any photographs of the early mummers plays. So if anyone out there has some, I'm sure Julie would appreciate them for the archives if you can send them to her. There are several different versions of a mummers play. Mostly every little village in England had its own version, but basically the storyline is the same in all of them. Two people fight, one of them dies and is brought back to life by a magical potion given by the doctor. And I think over the years, we've gone through a few versions of this play, and the differences usually are the ancillary characters that are involved. We started with a fairly small number, and I think we've had Robin Hood, we've had Beelzebub, we've had, at one point I think we even had a drag queen, although I can't quite remember. I do remember the costume though. We've had Bonnie Prince Charlie, we've had Scottish Knight. So we're not strict traditionalists. We do tend to have a fairly fluid script despite the traditional nature of the play. So there's often rewrites to put in Ottawa jokes or current affairs jokes, or, you know, there's rewrites or there's ad-libs because people forget their lines. One thing that I think that is unique to the Ottawa mummers play is, however, the existence of the fiery dragon character. Most traditional mummers plays don't actually have a fiery dragon character. The fiery dragon is mentioned because St. George fights it. I fought the fiery dragon and brought him to the slaughter, and by that means I won the king of Egypt's daughter. So he's certainly mentioned, but I think that it's only in Ottawa that the fiery dragon is one of the bona fide cast members. Cast members. And Ian can tell the whole story, but I believe the fiery dragon character originated It didn't originate in Ottawa. It originated as a practical joke, as a surprise character that was introduced into the middle of a mummers play that David was putting on at one of the folk festivals. And David's ad lib in response to the appearance of this surprising fire dragon was, "Clear off! There's no fire dragon in this play." And that line has been immortalized in the Ottawa script. Anyway, the Mummers play is great fun, and it's great that it's still carrying on 30 years later, and hopefully will carry on for another 30 years. And with that, Shelley, I think you're going to talk about Sacred Heart.